Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrachatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratvashe Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So today is the auspicious occasion of Chida Dahi festival. So this is a joyous festival, and we may be thinking that, okay, this happened some 500 years back, and we have heard it so many times. So why should we hear again? But the more we hear with rapt attention, the more we can enter into the pastime and actually be present on the banks of the Ganges along with Nityananda Prabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to take part in the festival. So it all depends on our own consciousness and attention with which we absorb ourselves in the pastime. Seeking the blessings of all the assembled Vaishnavas to be able to describe this beautiful pastime. And before we begin, we would like to sing one Vaishnava song, glorifying Lord Nityananda Prabhu and the Panchatattva. Dhana Mora Nityananda Prati Mora Gaura Chandra Prana Yugala Kishora Advaita Acharya Bala Gadadara Morakula Narahari Vilasi Mora Vaishnavera Padadhuli Tahe Mora Snana Keli Tarpan Mora Vaishnavera Nama Vichara Koriyamane Bhakti Rasa Aswadane Madhyastha Shri Bhagavat Purana Vaishnavera Uchishta Tahi Mora Mananishta Vaishnavera Namite Ullasa Vrindavane Chabutara Tahi Mora Managhera Kohe Dina Narottama Dasa Dhana Mora Nityananda Pauti Mora Gaura Chandra Dhana Mora Nityananda Pauti Mora Gaura Chandra Prana Mora Yugala Kishora Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Pancha Tattva, Jai Pancha Tattva, Pancha Tattva, Jai Pancha Tattva. Jai Gauranitai, Jai Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jai Gauranitai. Jai Shri Shri Panchatattva ki, Jai Shri Shri Gauranitai ki, Jai. Hare Krishna. So we read in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya-lila, chapter 6. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is describing about the meeting of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Raghunath Das Goswami. So as we know, Raghunath Das Goswami is our Prayojan Acharya. And so from the life of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, we can learn how to achieve the ultimate prayojan, that is Krishna Prem, which Mahaprabhu describes as Mahadhan. So, Raghunath Das Goswami, initially he tried to join Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he was a householder. Mahaprabhu told him, don't act as a Markat Vairagi, monkey renunciant. Now you stay at home, live with family, and do your business properly. So Raghunath continued his activities at home. And later on, Raghunath Das Goswami, he made attempts to leave home. Every time he would try to run away, his father would send guards, servants to bring him back. So many attempts were unsuccessful. And so finally, one day, Raghunath Das Goswami understood that at Panihati, Lord Nityanand Prabhu has come along with his associates. And so, Raghunath Das Goswami went to meet Nityanand Prabhu. So this is a beautiful pastime, and we will try to learn 5 important lessons from this pastime. And so on the banks of the Ganges, Nityanand Prabhu was seated on a raised platform along with his associates. And he appeared as effulgent as hundreds of thousands of rising suns. One rising sun we can't bear to see. You can just imagine hundreds, thousands of rising suns. That was the effulgence of Nityanand Prabhu. And so many of his associates, devotees, sat surrounding him. And Raghunath Das comes and he offers obeisances from a distance. And as soon as Nityanand Prabhu doesn't notice it initially, one devotee tells him, see, Raghunath is offering obeisances from a distance. And hearing this, Nityananda Prabhu says, Shuni Prabhu kahe chora dili darshana, aya aya aji tora karimu dandana. So Mahaprabhu says, Nityananda Prabhu says, you're offering obeisances from distance. You have come to see me, but you are chor. You're a thief. It's okay if you don't display it, it's okay. Let them hear. So he says, you're a thief, you're a chor. So therefore, come here, come here. Karimu dandana. Danda. I'll give you danda. I'll give you punishment. So, the Lord called him to come near, but Raghunath Das does not immediately go. And so, Nityananda Prabhu forcibly catches him, brings him close to him, and places his lotus feet on his head. So, why does Nityananda Prabhu call Raghunath Das chor, thief? So, who's a thief? A thief is one who unlegitimately, illegally steals something, correct? That's a thief. So, Nityananda Prabhu wants to say that you are illegally trying to go to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You're not going through the proper channel. So, this is not correct. Therefore, you are thief, because this is not the right way to try to get the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, this is one of the most important siddhanta that Nityananda Prabhu wants to teach. Not only to Raghunath Das Goswami, but to the entire world. Nityananda Prabhu wants to teach this lesson that one cannot approach Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one cannot approach the Supreme Lord directly. One day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu were sitting together in the house of Srivas Thakur. And Murari Gupta walks in. As soon as Murari Gupta walks in, he sees the two lords sitting in front of him. Murari Gupta offers his obeisances first to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then he offers his obeisances to Nityananda Prabhu. So immediately Mahaprabhu says, hey, what is this? You are supposed to be teaching etiquette to the whole world, but you yourself are not observing etiquette. Why have you offered obeisances first to me and then to Nityananda Prabhu? Murari Gupta says, my dear Lord, I just did what I was induced to, what I was inspired by. So Mahaprabhu says, okay, go home today, we'll speak tomorrow. And everything will become clear. So Murari Gupta, he is happy, at the same time is a little apprehensive, and he goes back home. And he goes to take rest at night. And at night, Murari Gupta sees Nityananda Prabhu in his dream. And Nityananda Prabhu is in the dress of a wrestler, Pailwan. And Nityananda Prabhu is present along with his hala, his plow, and his club. And he is in the mood and appearance of Haladar. And behind him there is Vishwambar, and Vishwambar is fanning him. And then in the dream, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu speaks to Murari Gupta and says, see, Nityananda Prabhu is my elder brother. So therefore, the proper etiquette must be observed. So, he understood, Murari Gupta understood. The next morning, Murari Gupta wakes up, and as soon as he wakes up, he is in a total state of anxiety, and he cries out, Nityananda, Nityananda. Murari Gupta's wife, she is astonished, she is frightened, and she calls out, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. She is afraid. And then Murari Gupta goes to the house of Srivas Thakur, and there is seated Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with Nityanand Prabhu on his right. And this time Murari Gupta first offers his obeisances to Nityanand Prabhu. Murari Gupta offers his obeisance first to Nityanand Prabhu and then to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu smiles and he asks, Hey Murari, why did you do this like this time? And Murari Gupta says, My dear Lord, I am simply following your instructions. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is pleased. So, in this way, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself instructs that how one cannot obtain the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu without going through Nityanand Prabhu. And so, Nityanand Prabhu is the Adi Guru. He is the original spiritual master of all spiritual masters. And so therefore, without obtaining the mercy of the bona fide spiritual masters, one cannot obtain the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Srila Prabhupada, in his lectures, he says, one has to go through the immediate Acharya. One cannot jump and directly obtain the mercy of the previous Acharyas or the Supreme Lord. The same Siddhanta Nityanand Prabhu is showing here through this pastime. And Srila Prabhupada, in his own Leela, in his own pastimes, he showed that how one must be so meticulous in following all the instructions of the bona fide spiritual master in order to obtain the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Of course, we know Srila Prabhupada, he followed the primary instruction of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur to preach Krishna consciousness in the Western world in the English language. But Srila Prabhupada was also very particular in following every small instruction that he received. And in this regard, we would like to cite a pastime which I personally heard from His Grace Shrutakirti Prabhu. He tells this pastime of how when Srila Prabhupada came to Mayapur, bringing some of his Western disciples in 1971, he went to meet his very dear god brother, His Holiness Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. And so Srila Prabhupada was accompanied only by Shrutakirti Prabhu, only both of them were present, they went to meet. And then, so they were conversing. And at a certain point, Srila Prabhupada tells Sridhar Maharaj, Maharaj, now Krishna consciousness is flourishing in the West. So many temples, so many books are being distributed, so many devotees. Please, you also come to the West. I am ready to give you everything, all facilities. And pointing to Shrutakirti Prabhu, he says, and this boy, he will become your personal servant. Shrutakirti Prabhu is taken aback. He thinks, what? Srila Prabhupada, he wants to give me away. But Shrutakirti Prabhu was wondering, how, even though Srila Prabhupada has made so many efforts single-handedly to spread Krishna consciousness, why now he is ready to offer everything to Sridhar Maharaj? Jai SriSriRadhaRasbihariTemple ki Jai, Shri Sitaram Lakshmi. But Shrutakirti Prabhu says, I was very afraid to ask Srila Prabhupada any questions, so I didn't ask anything. Many years later, after Srila Prabhupada departs from this world, at that time, on one occasion, Shrutikirti Prabhu meets with another long-standing servant of Srila Prabhupada, His Grace Hari Shauri Prabhu. And these two personal servants of Srila Prabhupada were discussing some Prabhupada pastimes. And Shrutikirti Prabhu tells this pastime to Hari Shauri Prabhu. And when Hari Shauri Prabhu hears this, Hari Shauri Prabhu says, I had a similar experience with Srila Prabhupada. And this was in 1976. Similar instant. Srila Prabhupada goes with Hari Shauri Prabhu to meet Sridhar Maharaj. And again, Srila Prabhupada tells Sridhar Maharaj, Krishna consciousness spreading all over the world, so many temples, so many books being distributed, so many devotees. Please come, I'm ready to offer you everything. And this boy, pointing out to Hari Shauri Prabhu, he will become your personal servant. And again, Hari Shauri Prabhu is very much astonished. But Hari Shauri Prabhu was a little more bold. And so, after the conversation, he goes and asks Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, you have done everything to spread Krishna consciousness throughout the world. Now, at this point of time, why are you inviting Sridhar Maharaj to practically take over everything? Srila Prabhupada says, in 1936, anybody knows what's the significance of 1936? Yes, the year Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur left this world. So Srila Prabhupada says in 1936, before leaving this world, my Guru Maharaj once told me. He said, the Sridhar Maharaj, he's a very wonderful preacher, but he is very shy. Please encourage him. That's all. These words of his Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada takes them so seriously, like a standing order, like an instruction. And because of these two sentences which his Guru Maharaj told him, Srila Prabhupada was again and again requesting Sridhar Maharaj to come and preach and practically lead everything. That was how Srila Prabhupada was so meticulous in following every small instruction of his Guru Maharaj. Because Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha kuru nandana. Reading Vishwanath Thakur's commentary on that verse, where Vishwanath Thakur has written that the instruction of the spiritual master is one's life and soul. Whether sansar exists or it does not exist, the only most precious commodity for a disciple is the instruction of the bona fide spiritual master. And that Siddhanta, Srila Nityanand Prabhu is teaching to everyone through this pastime of how one needs to approach the bona fide spiritual master, and through his mercy only one can approach Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Through his mercy only one can receive the grace of Krishna. In that context, in the 5th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, 12th chapter, 14th verse, we find Jad Bharat narrating to Maharaj Raghugana about his own past life and how he fell down because of being attached to the deer. In that purport, Srila Prabhupada has written some very important statements for every devotee to contemplate on and try to apply within one's life. Srila Prabhupada has written, if one always follows the instructions of the spiritual master, there is no question of falling down. No question. At the same time, Srila Prabhupada is telling bona fide way or the sure short way to remain in Krishna consciousness, and also the sure short way to fall down. Both things Srila Prabhupada is saying in this purport. The next statement Srila Prabhupada says, but if a foolish disciple thinks that he has now become qualified to becomes ambitious to take the post of the spiritual master and thus gives up the instructions, he immediately falls down. So if one becomes ambitious to take the post of the spiritual master, that means no more spiritual master. He becomes the spiritual master, rather his own mind becomes his spiritual master, then sure shot way to fall down. So, Srila Prabhupada writes that the reason why Bharat Maharaj fell down, even though he was on such an exalted platform of bhava, was that he did not follow the instructions of the spiritual master. Right. So, however elevated one may be, even on the stage of bhava, one always needs to meticulously follow the instructions of the spiritual master, instructions of Srila Nityananda Prabhu. And that is what Nityananda Prabhu is teaching us. This is the first lesson we learn from this pastime, and that is one can obtain the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu only through the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu and his bona fide representatives. Okay. So now, Nityananda Prabhu gives the danda, the punishment. And what is the punishment? He says, you're like a thief. Now I've captured you, and so I'm going to give you punishment. And so what is the punishment? Dadi Chida Bhakshana Karaha Moragana Shuni Anandita Hoila Raghunathamane. So he says, so all my Moragana, all of these devotees, they're all my associates. So what do you do? Dadi Chida Bhakshana Karaha. So feed them Chida Dahi. And hearing this, good punishment, right? Sweet punishment. So Nityananda Prabhu didn't give some very difficult punishment. So the spiritual master knows how to punish. He knows how to bring the disciple on track according to his level, according to his needs, what will bring him on track. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada explains in his purports that how one punishes different individuals is not the same. How one punishes a Brahmana, how one punishes a Kshatriya, how one punishes a Vaishyan, how one punishes a Shudra is not the same. It's all different. So there cannot be blanket ways of punishing. One has to see according to the individual. We're not getting into that details, but a point to be noted. So Nityananda Prabhu knew what would be a good punishment for Raghunath Das Goswami. At that point of time, Raghunath was a rich person, so much of money, and so therefore this was very easy for him. Easy job. And he was very happy. And so Raghunath Das, he sends out his own men. He had his own men. He sends them out to the village and they go and buy all the various eatables that are required, the chuda, the dahi, and kela. Of course, this is mango season, but here it is not mentioned mangoes. But that much leniency is allowed, I suppose. So, and then Raghunath Das, he gets brahmanas. The brahmanas get so many pots. It's mentioned 200 to 400 small pots for every devotee, 2 pots for every devotee, and huge pots, 5 to 7 huge pots to make the Dahi Chida. Krishna's Giriraj Goswami is giving precise recipe, how it is to be made, bona fide recipe. If we follow this, everything will be first class. So first of all, the chuda was soaked in hot milk, and then after that it was divided in 2 portions, 1/2 in dahi along with kela and camphor and sugar, and the other half condensed milk with special kela. There it is meant for condensed milk, special kela. What is the name of the kela? Here it is said Champakala. So, special kela for along with the condensed milk, along with that camphor and everything. And in this way, this Chuda Dahi was prepared. And then Nityananda Prabhu, he wanted all the devotees to be fed. How many devotees? Cannot count. Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami says there were so many devotees, cannot be counted. And as we see that there were devotees sitting on the platform around Nityananda Prabhu, when the platform got filled up, then the devotees sitting around on the banks of the Ganges, the banks of the Ganges got filled up. And when the banks of the Ganges got filled up, they went into the Ganges. So many devotees. Nityananda Prabhu is showing another very important Siddhanta, which is Grace Devakinandan Prabhu also mentioned yesterday. And he said that the Guru may be there, but if one does not respect the Vaishnavas, how can one get the mercy of the Guru? So Nityananda Prabhu is showing, you want to please the Guru, one has to please the Vaishnavas. Without pleasing the Vaishnavas, one cannot please the Guru. That is another important Siddhanta Nityananda Prabhu is saying. Why? Why is it so important to please the Vaishnavas? Of course, we are reading the pastime from the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, where Lord himself is telling Shrutadev that, okay, you have glorified me sufficiently, but now there are all these Brahmanas and Vaishnavas who are there along with me, you must glorify them also. So Lord himself wants to serve the Vaishnavas, glorify the Vaishnavas. And this Lord Vishnu himself is telling very precisely in his conversation with Durvas Muni, which we read in the 9th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th chapter, verses 63 onwards. The Lord is telling Durvas Muni why the devotees are so dear to him. Aham bhakta paradhino hi aswatantra iva dvija sadhubir grastha hridayo bhakter bhakta jana priyaha. So Lord is telling, Aham bhakta paradhino hi aswatantra. I have given up my swatantrata. I have given up my independence to my devotees. Aham bhakta paradhino. I have become subservient to my devotees. Why? Sadhubir grastha hridayo. Grastha. They have caught me. The sadhus have caught me within their hearts. So just like first canto, first chapter, second verse, famous verse. But the last line of the verse, Vyasadeva is saying that how Sadhyo ridhya avarudyate kritibi shushrushubi tatshanat. So avarudyate, Srila Prabhupada in a lecture on the verse, in the word-to-word meaning, Srila Prabhupada translates it as, the Lord becomes compact within the heart of the devotee. And to put it a little more graphically, in his lecture, Srila Prabhupada says, the devotee becomes locked up. During COVID, there was lockdown. But here the Lord becomes locked up. Who can lock up the Supreme Lord? In the first verse, Vyasadeva said he's Smarat. But here he says, the Lord becomes locked up within the heart. Of course. To which type of devotee? Kritibi, Shushrushubi. So in any case, but here also the Lord is mentioning, because the sadhus, they give up everything for the Lord. Later, the Lord is explaining to the Durvas Muni. Because they give up everything. putra, dara, griha, vitta, prana, everything they give up. That is the reason why the Lord becomes paradhino, subservient. Bhaktir bhakta janapriya. He's saying not only my devotees, but also bhakta jana. Bhakta jana means devotees of my devotees. They also become very priya for the same reason. And so, in this conversation, the Lord gives example that just like a chaste wife brings the husband under control, so similarly, the devotees, because of their surrender, they bring me under their control. So, therefore, here Nityan Prabhu is showing, you want to please me, you have to please the Vaishnavas. Without that, it is not possible. So, this is the second lesson to learn. We cannot approach the spiritual master directly. We cannot approach Krishna directly. The principle has been shown by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gopir Bartur Padakamalyor, Das, 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 Anudas. In the purport to this verse, 9.4.63, Srila Prabhupada writes an amazing statement. He says, following the instructions of devotee is more valuable than following the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly. That is how the Lord finds more pleasure when one follows the instructions of his devotee. Okay, third lesson. Now, Raghunath Das received instruction. What instruction? If you see the verse, the only instruction he says is, what instruction? Nityamru said, Dadi Chida Bhakshana Karaha. He only said, feed them what? Dahi Chida. So, Raghunath Das Goswami could have got only two items. Chida, Dahi. Mix them and feed. That is only instruction, correct? But did he do only that? No. Along with the chuda and dahi, he added so many things to make the offering the best possible offering. Because Raghunath Das was not just wanting to fulfill that instruction, but was sincerely wanting to please the Vaishnavas by offering the best quality service. Srila Prabhupada, he only received instruction, take the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, spread it in the English language all over the world. That's the only instruction. There were no more details. But Srila Prabhupada, he worked out all the details in order to give the best quality service. That is the meaning of love. When there is love, one wants to offer the best quality service. Not bare minimum. Bare minimum. Now that ठीक है, जो बोला था उतना ही, not anything more. No. A devotee is always meditating upon how to offer the best quality service. Hanuman was told only to go and find Mother Sita. Nobody told him to burn Lanka. But he knew what would please the Lord. Of course, we cannot concoct. If we have doubts, better to confirm. But the point remains that best quality service should be offered. In one lecture, Srila Prabhupada says, talking about deity worship, Srila Prabhupada says, deity worship must be first class dressing, first class jewelry, first class ornaments, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times a day. First class service. Of course, here, SriSriRadhaRasbihari, first class service is being offered, needless to say. But then, that is a devotee, he wants to offer first class service. Why? Does the Lord require that first class service? Is the Lord hungry for the service? Is the Lord hungry for our eatables? No. Lakshmi sahasra shatasam brahmasevimanam. In his prayers to Lord Narasimhadev, Prahlad Maharaj is offering a beautiful prayer. 7th canto, 9th chapter, 11th verse. Prahlad Maharaj is saying, Naivatmana prabhurayam nijalabha purno manam janata vidusha karuno vrinite yadyajano bhagavate vidadita manam tachatmane pratimukasya yatha mukashri. Prahlad Maharaj is saying, Naivatmana prabhurayam nijalabha purno. As far as the Supreme Lord is concerned, he is nijalabha purna. He is atmaram, he is aptakam, he is totally satisfied. What does he require? Even if he requires something, he can get on own. He doesn't require anybody's help. Naiva na eva atmanaha. The Lord does not accept for himself, but still he accepts the service of the avidusha. Avidusha means those who are less intelligent, those who do not know that the goal of human life is to please the Supreme Lord. For them, karuno vrinite, to show karuna, to show mercy on such less intelligent people, the Lord accepts the manam, the worship of such yadya jano, for such people, bhagavate, vidadita manam, he accepts. For whom? Who gets the benefit of the service? Tacha atmane. The one who offers the service gets the benefit, not the Lord. The Lord is satisfied, he doesn't require. But the one who offers the service gets the benefit. Just like he's giving analogy, prati mukasya yatha mukashri. Just like if one decorates the face, the reflection of the face in the mirror is automatically decorated. So similarly, by offering first class service to the Supreme Lord, the jiva, who is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, automatically becomes pleased when the Supreme Lord is pleased. So when one renders first class service to the Lord and his devotees, who gets the benefit? The one who renders the service gets the benefit. He gets purified. And therefore, Raghunath Das Goswami wants to offer first class service to all the devotees by offering first class Juda Dahi. Third lesson to be learned. First class service. And then all the devotees have these two pots of Chuda Dahi and Chuda condensed milk. And they're all so happy. And as they're eating, as they're relishing this wonderful prasad, and I'm sure we are very soon going to relish, and everyone is awaiting that, so I better stop my talk soon. But we'll just finish it off, okay? So, they're all relishing. And as they're relishing, what are they talking? Some prajalpa? No. As they are relishing this wonderful prasadam of Chuda Dahi, all the devotees are in between, ecstatically chanting the holy names. And here it's mentioned, the entire universe reverberated with the sound of the holy name, Hari Hari. That is what's mentioned here. Of course, we chant, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That was the only vibration that was filling all the three worlds. And then something adbhut happened. Nityanand Prabhu thought, why should only I enjoy this wonderful festival? Nityanand Prabhu is so much wanting to please his Lord, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so he invites Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the festival, and Mahaprabhu appears. Not everyone could see, only some fortunate souls. So those are fortunate souls here also, maybe witnessing this pastime of Gaunitai right in front of their eyes. We don't know who are the fortunate souls. But Nityanand Prabhu invites Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and both the lords are going around the lines of devotees. And what are they doing? They're having some joking pastime. What is the pastime? Nityanand Prabhu is taking the remnants from the pots of the devotees. Nityanand Prabhu is putting into the mouth of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also taking from the pots of devotees and putting into the mouth of Nityanand Prabhu. But all the devotees could only see Nityanand Prabhu doing this. They cannot understand what's happening. They were only seeing this because they could not see Mahaprabhu. But everyone is wondering, what is this funny pastime Nityanand Prabhu is doing? But in this way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityanand Prabhu were enjoying this pastime. And then finally, after this going around, taking remnants of devotees, we were in the song, it is mentioned, Vaishnavera Uchishta. Yesterday, Prabhuji also was speaking about Uchishta. But in any case, we hope nobody imitates this today. Anyway, then Mahaprabhu and Nityanand Prabhu sat down, and both of them, they had their pots of the two types of Chuda Dahi, and they were enjoying, they had their prasad. And then, after this, then of course Raghav Pandit comes over there, and Raghav Pandit is amazed. He says, I prepared a whole feast for you. He's telling Nityanand Prabhu, at my home. But you are having feast here on the banks of the Ganges. Nityanand Prabhu says, what to do? I'm cowherd boy. I like to have picnic on the bank of the river. So I'm enjoying with my associates here. But then after that, after both Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityanand Prabhu had their prasad, then all the remnants of both the lords were given to Raghunath Das Goswami. This was the result of the service. The result of the service was he got the remnants of the two lords, and that is the ultimate blessing that he received. And that was the blessing he was so desperate for. And that is what he received because he sincerely rendered the service to not only Gaunitai, but to all the Vaishnavas. And so, when one receives the blessings of the spiritual master, the blessings of the Vaishnavas, then that is the way to ultimate perfection. And then, so that pastime gets over. In the evening, Nityanand Prabhu goes to the house of Raghav Pandit where he has a feast. And then there also he receives the remnants. And next day morning, Nityanand Prabhu again sits on the banks of the Ganges. And there, Raghunath Das Goswami along with Raghav Pandit goes to meet Nityanand Prabhu. And what Nityanand Prabhu says here is something which is very, very important for all of us. How Raghunath Das Goswami approaches Nityanand Prabhu and how does Nityanand Prabhu respond. So, we will recite a few verses. So, this is 128. If you want to show, you can show these few verses. This is 6th chapter, Antilila, 6th chapter, verse 128 onwards. So, we can try to recite. So, Raghunath Das says, Adhama pamara mui hiya jiva adhama mora icha hoya paya chaitanya charana. So Raghunath Das Goswami is presenting himself with utmost humility. He is saying, Adhama, pamara, I'm so fallen, I'm so sinful, I'm jiva adhama. in utmost humility, but yet, Mora ichha hoy, paya chaitanya charan. My desire is to obtain the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Vamana hoy yena chandadari bare chaya, aneka yatna kainu tate kabasiddhanai. Like a dwarf who wants to catch the moon, I've tried my best many times, but I have never been successful. Every time I try to go away and give up my home, relationships, my father and mother unfortunately kept me bound. And then he says, Tomara kripa vina keho chaitanya na pai, tumi kripa koile tare adhameha pai. He says, without your mercy, I cannot obtain. No one can attain the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu without your mercy. But if you are merciful, tumi kripa koile, tare adhameha pai, even one who is most adhama, lowest of men, can attain the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu if one obtains your mercy. Ayogya mui nivedana karite kari bhaya, more Chaitanya deha gosai hoy sadaya. Although I am unfit and greatly afraid to even submit this plea, I nevertheless request you, Prabhupada says, Sir, to be especially merciful towards me by granting me shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We can see the attitude of Raghunath Das Goswami, utmost humility, the quality which is most essential to attract the mercy of the Lord. And so therefore, he says, Mora mate pade dhari karaha prasad, nirvigne chaitanya pai kara ashirvad. Placing your feet on my head, give me the benediction that I may achieve the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu without difficulty. I pray for this benediction. You can see how Raghunath Das Goswami is so much desperate, in so much of humility, begging to achieve the mercy of Nityanand Prabhu, and through him, the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And hearing this, Nityanand Prabhu is pleased and is glorifying Raghunath Das Goswami. Shuni hasi kahe Prabhu sabha bhakta gane, ihara vishaya sukha indra sukha sama. He's telling all the devotees, this Raghunath Das, what was his opulence? He had the opulence of Indra. Chaitanya kripate seha nahi bhaya mane, sabai ashirvada kara pauka Chaitanya charane. Because of the mercy bestowed upon him by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Raghunath Das, although situated in such material happiness, does not like it at all. Therefore, let every one of you be merciful towards him and give him the benediction that he may very soon attain shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Again, Nityanand Prabhu is telling all the devotees to bless. He's telling all the devotees to bless Raghunath Das that he may get the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this beautiful verse, let us all recite. You're showing it? Next verse. Krishna pada padma gandha yejana paya, Brahma loka adi sukha tare nahi bhaya. One who experiences the fragrance of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna does not value even the standard of happiness available in Brahmaloka, the topmost planet, and what to speak of heavenly happiness. This is the fifth lesson that we can learn, that if one obtains the mercy of Gaunitai, such is the transcendental happiness one can experience, that everything, even the happiness of liberation, Brahma Sukh, will be insignificant because one tastes the param drishtva nivartate of what? Krishna pada padma gandha. That is what one experiences. And when one experiences that, even Brahma Sukh, whether it is Brahma Loka or whether it is Nirvishesh Brahma, whichever Brahma it is, but even that will be totally insignificant. That is what happens by the mercy of Gaunitai. And therefore, then Lord Nityanand Prabhu called Raghunath Das near him, placed his lotus feet upon Raghunath Das's head and began to speak. He said, my dear Raghunath Das, he said, since you arranged the feast on the bank of the Ganges, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came here just to show his mercy. By his causeless mercy ate the chipped rice and milk. Then after seeing the dancing of the devotees at night, he took his supper. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Gaur Hari came here personally to deliver you. Now rest assured that all the impediments meant for your bondage are gone. This is what happens when one receives the mercy, then all impediments are gone. Just like Lord Krishna tells in the Bhagavad-gita, 18th chapter, 58th verse, Lord Krishna says, Macchitta sarva durgani mat prasada tarishyasi. By my mercy, if you constantly remember me, then all the difficulties, mat prasada tarishyasi, you can cross over all the difficulties by my mercy. Same thing Nityan Prabhu is saying here. Because you have obtained the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, therefore rest assured all the impediments. Chutila tumara yata vignadi bandhane. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will accept you, place you under the charge of Secretary Swarup Damodar. You will thus become one of the most confidential internal servants and will attain the shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Being assured of all this, return to your own home. Very soon, without impediments, you will attain shelter at the lotus feet of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Nityanand had Raghunath Das blessed by all the devotees, and Raghunath Das offered his respects to their lotus feet. In this way, through this beautiful pastime, we learned 5 important lessons. The first one is mercy of Nityan Prabhu is required to obtain the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In order to obtain the mercy of Guru, serving the Vaishnavas is most important. Second lesson. Third lesson is, in order to serve the Vaishnavas and please them, quality of service is very important. And if one renders first class quality service, the fourth lesson is, one receives blessings. And when one receives blessings, then the fifth lesson is, one obtains the higher taste, and then one can become totally detached from everything material and thus attain shelter of the lotus feet of Gauranga. Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki, Srila Nityanand Prabhu ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Chida Dahi Utsav ki, Samaved Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki. Hare Krishna. His Grace Devkinandan Prabhu and His Grace Mukund Madhav Prabhu, if you kindly want to enlighten us on Hare.
Dahi Chuda is a common food for everybody, rich man, poor man, everyone. It doesn't require much of endeavor. However, it depends on different people. Raghunath Das Goswami comes from landlord family. So just like chawal dal, with the chawal dal. Chawal dal is common food. But there are people who are poor, they may take chawal dal with pickle. Somebody have 1 vegetable, somebody have 2 vegetables, somebody very rich, have 10 variety of vegetable, So same way, Dahi Chuda is actually the main thing. I don't know if there are any devotee from Mithila, Darbhanga area. How many? Anybody here? Bihar nahi, Darbhanga area. 6 months they eat only Dahi Chuda. And Bengal, because actually Chuda comes only in winter season, the paddy. But in Bengal they have throughout the year rice plantation, and so as this side of Bihar. So they eat throughout, that's no problem. The chini kela is a small banana. The mango comes in that area, Langla Am, that comes like July, that type, not now. Now it is not ripen. But banana is throughout the year. So that therefore the banana is. I never understood why there camphor. The camphor can spoil the taste of everything also. But maybe today chemical camphor, the original camphor maybe enhance the taste. So of course I was not there to taste that time, but today if you put camphor, it will spoil the taste. So there are some of the point I was thinking, and the variety to eat. Actually, the chuda mixed with the milk should not mix with the curd. Therefore, the condensed milk is there. Chura soaked in the water should be mixed with the curd, dahi. The rest of the thing can be. And there are the different preparation how you make it. Tasty you can make it. But anyway, I don't want to take the curse from devotee because dahi chuda is very tasty and they all want to take prasadam. However, I have a question that Murari Gupta offered obeisances to Lord Chaitanya first, and Lord Chaitanya wanted to teach him etiquette that he should offer obeisances to Nityananda Prabhu. Now that time, Lord Chaitanya was not a sannyasi. If he was a sannyasi and Murari Gupta would offer obeisances to him, not to Nityananda Prabhu, would Lord Chaitanya have said same thing?
I don't know.
Because Lord Chaitanya himself said when Ramananda Raya and their discussion, when he talked about Varanashram, then said Iho Bahya. In a spiritual life, that's okay, but Iho Bahya, it's not the essence of life. So I think that's always confusion. There are always confusion today in ISKCON that the senior devotee is there and Achinta, my assistant, tomorrow he takes sannyas. So if you are standing next to him or I am standing, first arati goes to him, that kind of thing. So I actually get bewildered that till yesterday he was junior to me and after taking sannyas he became senior to me. So this is also always bewildering and that question is not being solved so far. So maybe you all can do some research and find out, how to move forward.
Maybe Mukundmada Prabhu would like to come.
हरे कृष्ण। धन्यवाद प्रभु जी। धन्यवाद बोला। हरे कृष्ण। प्रभु जी, एक प्रश्न है, जैसे श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर महाप्रभु और राधा कृष्णा स्थापित किए थे और हर गौड़ीय मंदिर में ऐसे मिलता है देखने को। फिर चैतन्य महाप्रभु और गौर निताई श्रील प्रभुपाद जी स्थापित किए थे। थोड़ा जैसे डिस्कस चल रहा है कि बिना नित्यानंद प्रभु कृपा बिना हम चैतन्य महाप्रभु को मर्सी आशीर्वाद नहीं ले सकते। तो थोड़ा सा समझा सकते हैं प्रभु जी। गौर निताय हम लोग विग्रह पूजा करते हैं और श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत गौर चैतन्य महाप्रभु के विग्रह किए थे।
तो जो मेरी समझावट है वो मैं बताऊंगा। तो स्पेशली आधुनिक दुनिया में श्रील प्रभुपाद को लगा कि नित्यानंद प्रभु की कृपा जो है, जो अत्यंत प्रभावशाली है, वो नित्यानंद प्रभु की कृपा वो बहुत ज़रूरी है। तो इसलिए विदेशों में और सभी सेंटर्स में श्रील प्रभुपाद ने दोनों गौर निताई को स्थापना की। ऑफ कोर्स, लेकिन सिद्धांत तो हमेशा सिद्धांत तो रहता ही है, लेकिन फिर भी श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर ने ठीक है कई जगह गौर गदाधर भी एस्टेब्लिश किया, कहीं पर गौरांग महाप्रभु और राधा कृष्णा। लेकिन विग्रह हो या न हो नित्यानंद प्रभु का, लेकिन सिद्धांत तो वही रहता है कि नित्यानंद प्रभु की कृपा तो चाहिए ही चैतन्य महाप्रभु की कृपा को प्राप्त करने के लिए। लेकिन फिर उसी सिद्धांत को एकदम स्पष्ट करने के लिए फिर श्रील प्रभुपाद ने तो दोनों गौर निताय को सब जगह स्थापित किया। और श्रील प्रभुपाद भी वही नित्यानंद प्रभु के मूड में थे और वही एकदम परम दयालु करुणा से भरे हुए श्रील प्रभुपाद ने भी पूरे जगत में प्रचार किया। तो इसलिए श्रील प्रभुपाद को लगा कि नित्यानंद प्रभु की कृपा जो है वो अत्यंत आवश्यक है। आधुनिक युग में जो अत्यंत पतित लोग हैं उनके लिए बहुत ज़रूरी है। तो ये मेरा समझावट है। अगर प्रभु जी कुछ बोलना चाहते हैं तो।
कलकत्ता में गौरांग महाप्रभु राधा कृष्ण हैं. I mean, your thought, speculation, whatever is right. One way that Nityanand Prabhu is more merciful, therefore. But yes, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami establishing Gaur Gadadhar. So that way, Gadadhar is Radharani and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna. So that's Radha Krishna. That higher understanding. But Western people will not understand. So Prabhupada established, Gaur Nitai. And Nityanand Prabhu is naturally merciful. Nitai Karuna Have, Braje Radha Krishna Pave. So that's a good answer. Nothing much to say.
Thank you very much. Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki jai, Shri Nityanand Prabhu ki jai, Chida Dahi Mahotsav ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you very
एक बार
much.
और कि whenever we hear about feast, automatically so many people come. One point you are saying, so many devotees came in Ganga. So when you hear about feast, so many people will come. They will not come to class, but prasadam time they will come.